PreCure Theater! My wife, my love, I'm so sorry. I know that you have this important out-of-state business that you have to go to, but unfortunately, one of my family members is in the hospital, so I'm going to have to stay here. If only there was some way that we could conveniently communicate with each other across state lines, across any distance.
I have good news for you, aside from that hospitalization thing that sounds real rough. Thanks to God, we have the PreCure line!
Incredible! What features include being able to contact up to 3 of your friends in real time. Free of charge, you can connect to them whether they're in the Vord dimension, whether they're in space, whether they've been negatoned. It doesn't matter, you will always be able to reach them no matter where you are.
Absolutely, and it comes with 3 enjoyable ringtones. Doop, 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 doop. That's mine. What's yours gonna be?
I really like the one that goes, ah!
That has been PreCure Theater. No, you must become PreCure to get PreCure line.
Offer not available outside of Japan. Must be a cute girl to register to get it. No, Seiji is not a cute girl. You have to be a young teen in order to have access to Pretty Line.
I think that's fair. Nobody who's not a young teen should have a phone. Because the rest of us don't want to talk to each other.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Ow! We're going on an adventure. It's gonna be so much fun. We're taking to the sky, just you and I.
Our smiles as bright as the sun.
Hey, heroes, rise up.
Rise up.
We can do it if we try. I believe in you and your feelings true. Hey, let your spirits fly. It's time for a cure of the what now?
Hi-ya!
It's so bright colors, wow! We'll answer the call and be standing tall. Fun is our eternal vow. So gear up, get ready. I hope you're feeling fine, 'cause now it's hero time. Cure of the what now?
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's 2 dorky podcasters.
Hello, fellow heroes, and welcome to episode 3 of season 3 of
Cure of the what now? Hi-ya!
the one show where we know love is wrong, love is illegal, love is an affront to God.
What about, like, girls loving each other?
Oh, like holding hands and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Oh, okay, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm your host, Kat, and I have never been in love with anyone ever, not once.
Wow, that's tragic.
Well, I can be a PreCure.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that you've never been in love. Wink. so that you can be a the PreCure are like the Jedi. I just realized.
Right? Yeah. That's what I'm just saying it. Wink.
Wink?
Wink.
Even though I do a podcast with my husband, I've never been in love with anyone. Wink. Get out of my house, husband.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm your co-host, Joel, and also I've learned some sky martial arts, and I can punch a boulder in half.
Oh, cool. Are there any sick fossils in there?
Yeah, there was. You could revive Ammonite or potentially Kabuto, but not both. You have to pick one or the other.
I was always partial to Aerodactyl.
Well, yeah, but Aerodactyl isn't one of the 2 that you have to choose.
Well, I know. I'm
Okay, you're just saying.
Like, when I was a kid, I was like, why would I even bother with the other fossils?
I'm really surprised that they didn't do a T-Rex immediately. Like, it took them, till Gen, 7 or something, and it's that's the most basic dinosaur you could possibly have.
This was actually Gen 6, because it was the X and Y gen.
Cool. I can't keep track of anything past Generation 5.
That's fair. Also, I might have been wrong, because I can't count. Math is hard. Joel, do we have any news or announcements this week?
Yes! Okay, so I did officially break my Nen promise from episode 1 of season 3 of Cure of the What Now? Hi-ya!
Can't believe you're talking to us as a ghost now.
Yeah, I died. Does it always kill you? I think that you can change the what happens, but I guess I did say in that episode it would kill me.
So we didn't watch enough of Hunter x Hunter to actually know, but I'm pretty sure they were like, making a Nen promise binds the promise to your heart, so if you break it, you die?
I think the power of the Nen comes from the power of the promise and the consequences if you fail it. So if you say, I will accomplish this or I'll die, it'll give you more power than you say, I'll accomplish this or I'll cut off my left pinky or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't specify, but my point is, I said that I was going to get the Minecraft video up. That's one of 3 important projects, or it's part of one of 3 important projects that I really want to launch this year. I did my best, but by the time this episode goes out, I guarantee you that the Minecraft tour will be live on, drumroll please, Cotwin Side B. So we have a new YouTube channel. If you only subscribe to this one or you only subscribe to the other one, that's not that big of a deal. We will try to keep weekly uploads here for our podcast, where we'll mostly be talking PreCure. You can also get access to some of our old One Piece content on this channel as well. But Side B is just going to be for everything else that's not directly podcast related. I think in the future, if we do more PreCure ranking videos, I think I'm going to put it on that, because that's not technically part of the podcast, if that makes sense. Any like video game stuff, any video essays on like movie reviews or video games or books or anything like that. I have a couple that I'm thinking of that I'm going to try to upload there as well.
Now, Joel, I have a question.
Absolutely.
Some of our old bonus episodes were released on the free feed for all our friends and fans. Will those be on Side B, since some of them are books?
No, see, so if we sit down, you and me, and we just do a conversation, or if we have a guest and there's 3 of us or 6 of us or however many we do, and we're discussing something in a podcast format, that will go on this channel, King of the What Now. And then Cotwin Side B can be like solo book review. So like if I talk about, like I'm currently reading Codex Alera, I would highly recommend it to everyone. If I just talk about like how great of a character Isana is, or how bad of a character this character is, that wouldn't be a podcast in my mind. That would just be like a review. Does that make sense?
Excellent. Yes. All of my videos of showing the cats my feet can go on Cotwin Side B.
I'm not sure legally you're allowed to show feet on YouTube without signing like an extra disclaimer.
I signed the waiver. Excellent. I'm very proud of you for getting Cotwin Side B up and running. I am working on a logo, but Joel made a pretty cool, fun logo in the interim, and I like it a lot.
Absolutely. I decided to let my inner toddler/grandma out to kind of just like throw a bunch of colors on there, kind of a thing. But like I said, I have what I am considering 3 major projects that I really want to get done by the end of this year. And in my free time, I'm going to try to ask myself, like, is there anything you need to do that will get this to the next step? And so releasing this channel where we might have other content, and again, it's probably not going to be weekly. The podcast takes priority, and real life takes priority over that. But this is where we'll have like extra stuff every once in a while, and that's going to be, I have some ideas for what I might do in the future. Stay tuned for, stage 2 and stage 3 of the big projects that Cotwin will be unveiling, hopefully later this year, but I'm not going to promise it.
One of those projects is Joel showing his feet. He just wants to get it ahead of me.
I've actually copyrighted the idea of, I've trademarked the idea of showing feet on the channel, so.
Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great to get my toenails painted with our little logo? That would be so cute.
That would be really interesting. Absolutely.
I'm not showing feet on this channel, by the way. This is all a very humorous bit. Joel, you had a discussion question for us today.
What, really quick? Sorry, I forgot that there was a second piece of news. I have now released the bloopers and extras of season 2 of King of the What Now? Yum. So that's episodes 31 through 43 of the podcast. I also have a couple of like end of season, like we have 2 compilations of all of the discussion questions we discussed throughout the season. I broke it up into 2 because I'd rather have closer to 1 or 2 hour content versus 1 4-hour video that I don't think many people would be interested in listening to. And then we have another one that is kind of a surprise and will be the last of the 4 to be released. And again, I'm not going to swear on my life or anything, but I think that they should be up by the time episode 4 comes out next week.
So Joel, did you listen back to all our mic tests before you uploaded this video?
I listened to them individually, yes.
Okay, I'm just really curious, like, what kind of energy we're putting out there into the world, because last year's was really funny.
Yes, I would highly recommend the bloopers extras thing. That one is available now, and it's great. And also, I try to put these nice little time codes in the episode. In fact, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, there's time codes in the description if you just want to skip directly to when we start talking about the discussion question. But what's really nice is if there's one particular episode that you really like, you could share it with your friends and be like, hey, check it out. Episode 30, I don't know if I vibed with them, but episode 32, they made some interesting thoughts about cats.
They made some delicious thoughts.
They made some delicious thoughts about eating cats, making them into a little cat lasagna.
We did not talk about cat lasagna. We didn't. That would be terrible of us. You remember when I wrote something in the poll and I was like, who said this? This is terrible. I said that.
Yes.
So it's very possible we did talk about baking cats into lasagna.
I really don't think we do. I was just trying to come up with a random example.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I get you. I'm just saying, like, who knows what that Catherine said? I'm this Catherine.
Past Catherine has no affiliation with Past Catherine. Please don't hold me responsible. Let's move on to the discussion questions. So I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try to come up with the discussion questions before an episode airs, and then we will try to post it in the Discord and potentially on Twitter. I'm going to be much better at posting it on Discord than on Twitter. I'm telling you that right now.
Ooh, that's scrunkly.
So in that way, instead of saying, oh, we talked about this last week and we had some other people write in, now we can say, we've had some people write in, we can discuss that at the end of our discussion question. So this week, I am asking, does anyone have any predictions for other generals this season? Will they be animals? Will they all be like, Kabaton's a pig and they'll all be different animals? If yes, what animals? If not, what sort of visual motifs do you expect? And will they all summon mechanical robot Ramborgs, or is that like Kabaton's thing and they'll have their own version of the creatures they're summoning?
All right, in order. Yeah, they're all going to be animals. Next one, or one of them. I don't care when he shows up, but he had better be a crocodile.
Okay.
I'll get to my rationale in a second. And I think they're all going to do robots because the Ramborgs in the opening are all robots.
Absolutely. That said, they seem to be doing a pretty good job so far of restricting what you see. So we haven't really seen Cure Wing or Cure Butterfly's civilian forms yet. And I imagine when they show up that the opening will change slightly to reflect that. So if there's another general coming down that'll show up in episode 5 or something, and if they summon something other than robots, then they might change those specific frames. But I think you're right. I think that they're going to continue with the robot theme. We actually discussed this with that one welder guy, James, friend of the podcast, and he and I came up with the mohawk and the scar on the left eye that have all shown up in his Kabaton's Ramborgs. I think that the next general is going to have something else. So maybe they might have like a nose ring or an earring or a collar or something, and their Ramborgs will have that visual motif that links them to their general.
I like that a lot, actually. It's fun when the generals kind of match up with their monsters of the week.
I think that's
somehow.
so cool. You said you were going to justify wanting a crocodile for an underground monster or whatever.
So they're underground themed. Sewer crocodiles.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of a common myth or whatever.
You know how you sometimes believe in something because you want it to be true, even when you know it's probably not?
Yes.
I believed in sewer crocodiles in my small landlocked town far away from Florida, literally on the opposite side of the country from Florida, until I was like 13 years old. Because I knew that there were probably not crocodiles in the sewers, but I wanted it.
Of course. Yeah,
I wanted it so badly. And so, yeah, I think I don't even know if Japan has that, the
urban kind of
legend.
myth, urban legend. Yeah, absolutely. So I agree that with the land versus sky thing, we're probably going to get animals that are land-based. We probably won't get, like, say, a gazelle or something that can jump really high, because that's too much air. It's not enough on the ground, right? Pigs generally aren't known for jumping.
Little lizard just, like, wiggling in the dirt.
Absolutely. So I think for something strong, I don't know if it's associated with like dirt or mud or being underground enough to count, but like an elephant could be like the strong man, like even stronger than Kabaton. Like first thing this guy does, he shows up, he arm wrestles Kabaton and just throws him through the window or something. He's that strong. I think at one point I was talking off mic and, I think like serpents or like shrews or voles that are known for like burrowing or just moles.
Oh my god, we could have a naked mole rat general.
We could have a drill bird general.
What is that?
Like, what is that? But I have a brilliant idea.
I'm ready.
I'm not sure if you've heard it yet, because I've posted it in a couple of places, but you haven't responded anyway. So here it goes. The next general should be Kabaton's big brother, which I've talked about on the podcast before, but he should be masked wrestler theme. Because a masked wrestler is the perfect counterpart to the hero, the Faces, that is Sora and her team.
He's gonna be a heel. I love it.
And his Ramborgs could all have the mask on.
Yep. I'm on board. That sounds amazing. End the podcast now. Let's all go home. You've said something that I need to go.
I expect fan art on my desk before episode 4 airs in another week or so.
Absolutely. I don't think this will be a general, but like a hyena could be a cool one for kind of a cowardly animal.
I really like that. And yeah, because I think that you want the themes. Sometimes some seasons don't seem to really have a theme with their monsters. I harp on Futariwa all the time, but like it's just a collection of bad guys with different traits, but they don't really challenge the heroes in a specific way. But I think the further we get into the series, the more deliberate the choices are going to be. It's kind of like how all the Pokemon games, they put a lot of thought into which real life species should get a Pokemon in the next game type of thing. So I think that people that somehow represent the opposite of heroism, so cowardice, trickery, the dark type from Pokemon basically. And so yeah, I hope we get another general, and I hope they're as entertaining as Kabaton.
Absolutely. One question to kind of build off of your thoughts here. Every general team needs one big booba lady.
It seems like it. It seems to be the rule.
What's her thing going to be? What's her vibe going to be?
Oh, see, the thing is that I associate like the kind of like digging in dirt animals to like not necessarily be very cute. So we might get like a woman general who is not traditionally beautiful. Like if there's a crocodile person, maybe she could be kind of like a burly, bigger woman, but she could still have the confidence like she's a traditionally beautiful woman or whatever. And they just like don't acknowledge the fact that she has a different body type. They're just like, wow, she's really proud of her looks. Still a bad guy, still gonna punch her in her snout, you know, that kind of a thing.
I would never punch a crocodile in its snout. no matter how bad.
Absolutely.
Did you know, and I know you know this because you were there, but alligators, and I believe other members of the crocodilian family, they have little sensors along their jaw, and if you flip them upside down, the sensors get confused, so they just go to sleep.
Yeah, it's basically like solar panels, and they're receiving extra sensory data, and if you flip any of them upside down, they kind of just pass out. Sharks have them too, and they're called like isosensors, I think. Mm-hmm. So that is pretty neat.
That's been this episode's Croco Fact. Doot, Croco Fact!
Now, the only thing that James really said is that he hopes that other generals are as entertaining as Kabaton, and he hopes that they're all animal-themed. I agree, animal-themed seems like the best way to do it, but like I said, some seasons are really consistent, some seasons are not. They could have like a card-dealing cowboy show up, and I'd be like, that's kind of weird, but I'm here for it, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh, what if they had one of the other generals was train robber themed in like look like a desperado with like the bandana and stuff, and they could have like a hat and they could ride around like a steed of some sort.
I love that.
Excellent. But I think that about wraps it up for discussion questions. We used to mention this quite a bit, and I do want to bring it up again. If you have any discussion questions that you want to bring up, feel free to do so. I think while we're in the early stages of these various seasons, I'd like the discussion questions to be things about, like, looking forward. You know, what might they do for the mid-season cure? What might they do for the final villain that's pulling the strings or whatever? But once we get further into the season, we'll probably switch tactics and start talking about more general discussion questions. Favorite cure, favorite past season, or
and I mean, we often, like, pitch our own kind of stuff, too. Yes. So if you have any, like, I want a PreCure season about flowers, we got you.
PreCure seasons where they're all ducks, and the main duck can't love a boy because she's a duck. But she dances her frickin' heart out, and eventually she wins the day.
DuckTales, ooh-woo.
Do not say ooh-woo in such a flat, affectionless tone. That is not the true spirit of ooh-woo.
I'm sorry, my love. Would you prefer ooh-woo?
Ooh-woo.
Ooh-woo?
Now.
Glumps, you XD.
I think saying XD out loud is the best bit of comedy I've ever heard in my life. Okay. So, this week, we watched episode 3 of Soaring Sky PreCure, of Happiness Charge PreCure, and of Splash Star, Futariwa PreCure Splash Star.
Hey man, hey! You stole my moment to say, do you have any succinct summaries for me?
Oh.
Do you?
Yes.
Have any? Okay.
I do, they're coming up, but first, before I get into that, Catherine, I asked you if maybe you thought, you know, was Happiness Charge hitting you, like, in the dopamine receptors? Would you like to try to watch 2 episodes before next week?
Yes.
Okay. So, I am not guaranteeing it. If this promise is not fulfilled, my heart will not explode, but we are going to try to watch episodes 3 or 4 and 5 of Happiness Charge for next week. We'll still be only watching 4 for Soaring Sky and Splash Star.
Do you know what is funny?
What is that?
When we really love something, we watch more of it because we just want to keep watching it. But when we really hate something we're podcasting about, we end up watching more of it so we can be done with it sooner.
Yes. We always find a way to just watch more anime because that's what we like doing, you know?
Absolutely. I actually cease to exist when I am not consuming content or creating content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Creating content about the content I consume. But what if I consume all the content? There will be no content left. I will have to consume my own content to have content to create to consume.
Absolutely. Everyone check out Bo Burnham's... Crap, what's the latest one called? Is it Inside Out? Oh, Inside, that's right.
Was I accidentally doing it Inside?
Yeah, so one of the bits he does is he I believe he does a thing earlier in the special, and then later he's like a Twitch streamer with like his headset on. He's like, okay, we're going to react to this thing that I did earlier, and then he starts reacting to that. But then halfway through that, the camera zooms out, and he goes, okay, we're going to react to my reaction. I think it's kind of weird, and then it zooms, and it does that like a couple of times. So, anyways, succinct summaries. I'm going to do these in chronological order of release date. So first is Splash Star. There's a big softball game, and softball is different than baseball, of course, and it's different than lacrosse, of course, because...
Wait, what's the difference between softball and baseball?
Well, you see, in baseball, you have to try to reach all of the different bases, but in softball, no hard boys allowed. It's only people who are really feeling their feelings, you know?
Yeah, okay.
You can only eat marshmallows, you can only lay on pillows, there's no hard surfaces in softball.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Absolutely. There's a softball game. Saki really wants to win. Wait, Saki? Yeah, Saki is the kind of new Nagisa-ish. So Saki really wants to win. They're going to try to have a positive spirit about this. They're not doing so well, but then it turns out that Mai, once again channeling Shalon Devar from the Stormlight Archive, not archives.
Good job. Proud of you.
Thank you. But it turns out that because she was drawing them both yesterday and today during practice and during the game, she's able to point out how their form is different, and then that causes them to play a baseball or play a softball extra hard, and then they win. And that's kind of it. Carl Allen shows up, and he starts messing with them, and then they beat up his monster, and then he gets thrown away like Team Rocket.
What did you call him? Oh, Karahan. I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought you had messed up Kabaton's name, and I was like, are we doing it now?
Karbaton? Karaton? They're just going to fuse together into one plant pig thing.
Honestly... Kabaton could change his names to Carbs a ton.
Yeah, he just seemed to be like someone who enjoys his carbs. Actually, he might be more of a protein guy, you know? Anyways, we're going to move on to Happiness Charge.
Happiness Charging! PreCure!
Happiness Charge?
Happiness Charge, PreCure! So it turns out that you are not allowed to tell people that you are a PreCure if you're a PreCure in this season of PreCure. I've said it too many times, it's starting to sound funny in my head. But it turns out that Megumi is actually really, really, really bad at keeping a secret. So she basically tells her childhood friend Seiji, hey, I'm a PreCure. And he goes, I don't really care. But then the bad guys show up and they're wrecking havoc, and Seiji wants to try to help an older lady because he has a kind heart, and then he actually sees Megumi transform right in front of his very eyes, and he goes, oh my gosh. And so he finds out about the PreCure. They go to God, the mirror guy, and they're like, can Seiji join the team? And he goes, yes, but only if you're not gonna kiss him. And they go, what? And he goes, I do not approve of kissing. And they're like, okay. So that's something that we'll discuss when we talk about the main episode. But that's basically it. Welcome to the team, Seiji.
Yeah.
First male PreCure, question mark?
He walked so Takumi could run? How many people walked before this boy could run?
How fast can he run? Oh my gosh, he's breaking the speed force barrier. He's created a time boom. Superman wasn't supposed to be caught by the soldiers. He wasn't supposed to be, oh my gosh, they changed Superman to Supergirl. What is happening to the time stream?
Everyone.
In this timeline, Cure Milky is a green cure?
She is a green cure. When they do the Shirahoshi stars, the color poof behind her is green. What are you talking about? I want you all to know If you heard a noise while Joel was doing his time stream bit, it's because he got so excited he knocked his glasses off his face and they went flying under the podcast table.
If it ever seems like I'm an idiot when we do this podcast, it's because I am. This podcast is kind of like a stream of consciousness for me. Like, very rarely are my tangents pre-planned. But sometimes my stream of consciousness is like an actual reference that I like and I want more of it. And so I was like, I got a chance to make a Flash reference. So now I'm just going to go crazy. I'm going to be... I like it.
I love that they cast Hatsune Miku in that movie.
It's so good.
I think she's going to be
absolutely.
really good as the Flash.
Okay, so that's the Happiness Charge succinct summary. And now we can move on to Soaring Sky. So last week... Kat and I hypothesized, what's up with this grandma? What's up with Yoyo? Is she a witch? Is she from Skyland? Is she secretly this, that, or the other thing? And I thought they were going to tease it out. She just straight up tells them in the first minute of this episode, they're like, Yoyo, are you a witch? And she goes, yes. she goes, I'm a famous historian scholar from Skyland who has lived here for the last, 50 years. And then she goes, by the way, I have a magic mirror. Like, she's just laying all of her cards out on the table. She goes, here's a magic mirror. We can use it to communicate with Skyland, but you need special magic gems.
And the girls, of course, have to go on a grand quest that's going to span several episodes to find them.
You'd think so, but no, they're just in the backyard. You just kind of go on and just kind of look for them. They literally seem to go into the woods and they kind of look to the left and they go, oh, there's one. And so they pick it up. We'll talk more about the sky crystals or whatever later, but they bond, basically. Mashiro is very kind. Sora is like, wow, you are very kind. Sora continues to not really know how the world works because she's not from here, so she sees a mushroom, she's like, oh, I should eat that. Mashiro's like, no, that's a poison mushroom. Also, this is foreshadowing for later. It turns out Sora's strong enough to punch a boulder in half, even one that's twice her size, and why do you even need to transform into a PreCure if you just have that kind of amazing punching power? And then that's basically it. Kabaton shows up. He gets frustrated with the girls. He attacks. They beat him. He decides he's going to power up by eating a mushroom, which actually might be foreshadowing for later, but it turns out that the mushrooms he ate were the poison mushrooms from earlier, and then he gets an upset stomach or something like that, and he leaves.
All bad bitches have tummy problems.
Kabaton. And those have been your
Succinct Summaries! He's just like me for real, Joel. Excellent Succinct Summaries, as always.
Excellent calling out of my excellent Succinct Summaries.
Yeah, you and I, Futari Wa.
Succinct
Summaries. Did you like Splash Star?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me more about these complicated feelings and how they reflect on your relationship with your mother.
Oh, we're getting deep. We're going to save that for side B when we have 4 episodes of just us crying about our familial issues.
YouTuber reacts live therapy session.
I helped 10 bereaving widows get over their loss, and it's just a thumbnail of me having 2 older women on either arm, and they're just crying, and I'm just smiling. I'll make millions, and I'll use those millions to pay for more YouTube ads down the line.
This seems like the best possible use of my psychology degree. I'm here for it.
Absolutely. So, Splash Star continues to not be anything particularly amazing. It's kind of bare bones at the moment. You have some I think that Mai and Saki spend more time establishing their friendship than I would argue Honoka and Nagisa did. Look, I got confused because Honoka's usually the second name that I said. So I said Honoka and I was like, what's the name of the other one? Honoka's the name of the other one. You just said Honoka, and so I had to figure it out.
There's a tiny goblin who lives in your brain.
No, there's 2 of them, and they don't like each other.
Oh, no!
And sometimes when they make eye contact, they just start fighting, and that's why my brain goes wrong.
Oh, man. Sharing an office with someone you don't get along with is tough.
It absolutely is. Okay, so Splash Star in general terms is kind of nothing special yet, but I still like it a little bit better than Futari Wa. But I'm a guy who doesn't really care much about sports, and so an episode where they want to play a sport and then they can't do the sport, but then it turns out that they had to believe in themselves, that's kind of cool.
I'm not much into sports, but I am into sports media, and I could tell that I was enjoying this episode because the ref made a bad call and I started shouting like it was a real softball game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
My dad used to do that to the show Friday Night Lights, and I'd be like, not only can they not hear you, this isn't even a real football game.
This is pre-scripted. I don't know if you know that, but like literally someone could just survive cancer because they wrote that. They were like, and then the cancer went away.
And he was like, I know, but I can't stop. I'm just so invested.
And it is okay for people of all ages, sexes, genders to just like really love what they're into. Unless what they're really into is like murder, in which case maybe find a different outlet for your energy.
What if
you were trained to take your murderous output and use it to only murder other murderers? And then, like, people could find out, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, they're going to find out, this is going to change everything. And then the show, I mean, your life could basically be the same, and then a lot of people could complain about how that wasn't really interesting television.
What wacky and creative ideas we have that we came up with ourselves. Going back to Splash Star. You little dickhead melonhead dude.
What? Karahan? Or no, Goyon?
Goyon. His head is shaped like both a melon, but also a dick.
Yeah.
And he's scheming. He's up to no good.
He's a big schemer. We did get confirmation this isn't in our calls to adventure from friends of the podcast, but AU did point out that a Goya is like a type of vegetable, or like a gourd, I think.
It's a bitter melon.
Right. And so Goyon's name is definitely based off of Goya, and the bad guy is named like Aku Daikon or something like that, and I thought it was like daikon radish. Isn't that like a type of vegetable? And AU confirmed that no, that's just a random coincidence, and that the bad guys are not all based off of vegetables. But so far it really seems like we have one dude who's a plant and we have one dude who's a bitter melon. So like until the next guy shows up and it's like a triceratops or something, I'm gonna assume they're all vegetables.
You just wait until Big Booba Lady shows up.
Big Booba Triceratops, but she also has 3 horns growing out of each booba.
Oh, hey guys, it's Pete here. That sounds like a kind of interesting idea you're throwing around. Pete, no, we don't have time for your horny podcasting.
No, I'm not being horny. I think that Triceratops are relatively, underutilized in media. We have T-Rexes and Velociraptors, but when have you ever heard of a weird B-list movie called Triceratops Cop? You just haven't.
You haven't? That's true. Pete, I feel like you lied to us all right now because you said you're not being horny, but as a Triceratops, you always are.
Oh, I love that pun. I'm gonna go think of a witty retort. Bye, guys.
Bye, Pete.
Man, do you remember when Pete had a consistent voice? I think he's got a cold or something, because he just didn't sound the same right now as he has in the past.
Oh God, Pete got the vid. I told him to stop using Herbalife supplements instead of medicine.
I told him it was dangerous to go up to every single doorknob and lick them in succession, even if there was a mysterious man in a cloak and a suit who was going to give him $10,000 for each doorknob he licked. It was just, the risk was too high.
It's too high, yeah, absolutely. You could not pay me any sort of Triceratops dollars to schlob on those knobs.
Triceracoin.
Oh no. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Goyon and how they're all vegetables, and how I thought daikon was like a daikon radish, but it's
okay, yes. Daikon. He's sus. That's all.
No, yes. He's very sus.
Not daikon. Goyon.
Goyon is sus. We haven't seen Aku Daikon, and I swear to God, if it's just like a Wizard of Oz giant face and the man behind the mirror is just Goyon was actually the real bad guy. No, but this episode was fine. I'm glad that we got a bunch of different people who are really invested in Saki's softball skills. Her dad closed the shop to come and watch the game, and we love a good dad who supports his daughter or whatever. She has a sister whose name I don't know, but she's Minori, because she later grows up to become Cure Papaya, but she also is super invested in her sister's sports games, which is a different relationship than we saw with Nagisa and her brother, who basically hated each other and put each other in headlocks and stuff. Also, so I don't know if I would have noticed this if I hadn't had it confirmed by the wiki, but now that I've seen it on the wiki, my brain goes, oh yes, this is a pattern, and I shall notice it. Karehan will only ever make Uzainas out of plant or wood-based things. So I think in the first episode, it might have been like a tree stump or something. And then in the next episode, I think it was like a potted plant, maybe. Don't quote me on that. But then in this episode, it was a baseball bat. And I think I appreciate that because when I read he turns plants and wood into creatures, I assumed that it would always be like a living plant. And a baseball is not a living tree. But I like that as a bad guy.
Absolutely. Plus, I just really liked the design for this.
Yeah,
this one.
Absolutely.
They're Uzinas in this one,
Uzinas
right?
in this season, yes.
Okay, for some reason I keep thinking Uzinas is Yes PreCure 5.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. I think those are Kawainas. And
That's right, 'cause
Kawaii
they're
for
scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, really two quick, like 1-2 quick punch. There is a tiny rice ball goblin that Saki can summon with her magical buy our merch or whatever, and he does a little dance and then he creates a kurogiri rice, I think. No, kurogiri is the bad guy from My Hero. It doesn't matter.
He makes rice with furikake.
Yeah, furikake, that's the word I was looking for. But he's just a freaky little guy.
Yeah, he does a dance and he's like, Giri! That is kind of what I imagine one of the goblins who operates Joel's brain machinery to look like.
I don't think they look like that. I think they act like that. Like, I think they kind of do like the back and forth kind of dance with like the opposite arms and opposite legs are kind of parallels of each other, you know?
Absolutely.
The other quick punch that I wanted to point out, I really meant to talk about this last episode. These magical girls actually have magic powers, which I think is super cool. So basically, if they concentrate hard enough, there's kind of like a glow that can like gather around whichever body part. So at one point last episode, they needed to jump really high, so the energy kind of gathered in their legs. And then there was one point where they wanted to like throw a monster, so their like hands started glowing. And I think that's really cool. I think that could lead to some interesting fights if they actually remain consistent. However, there's a good chance that they won't, because PreCure kind of introduces ideas and then only ever reuses them like kind of a couple of times.
We will have to keep our hopes up. But
absolutely.
I know you were very excited that they were like actually magical girls.
Yes. Well, and it's just like all of the PreCures we've seen, and I think all of the PreCure even from the seasons we haven't seen, they're all like super strong and extra durable and stuff, and they shoot friendship laser blasts, but it's rare to actually see them like use what seems like a spell to augment their abilities.
Absolutely.
Would you like to move on to Happiness Charge?
I would love to move on to Happiness Charge.
Happiness Charge. Happiness Doki, the Redux. Yes, PreCure 5. Go.
Anyway, Happiness Charge, PreCure. Happiness Charge, PreCure.
How did you like this episode?
Liked it a lot.
Okay.
I
excellent.
really just love this season.
Yes.
It's cute and funny, and they got rollerblading outfits.
Yes. So it turns out they have a couple of different outfits. Last episode, we saw Megumi's detective outfit. This one, we saw like rollerblade outfits, and not Erica. Goodness gracious. Hime. She was like, PreCure can't be seen outside in their pajamas, which, I mean, I guess if Superman saved me from a burning building and he was still in like his pajamas, like I wouldn't be like, man, you look super unprofessional. I'd be like, thank you, Superman.
Yeah, but you're not a fashionable lady. You have different values.
Oh, that's true. But anyways, they had this kind of 80s aesthetic rollerblade look. I really liked that. I like Seiji as this dude who like helps out the PreCure even though he's not a member of the PreCure.
I love that he was really aggressively like minding his own business.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a scene where he's figured out the PreCure thing, right? Because Hime's version of keeping a secret is to just walk around singing, "Secret, secret, I've got a secret." And then Megumi can't lie, so she's suspicious as heck. When the little sister character brings up PreCure, so he's like, okay, I get it. Whatever you're doing with PreCure, don't make your mom worry. Because he's just a wholesome boy who cares about moms. He cares about moms so much that he inspired Megumi's mom to say something very weird. He was over for dinner because his mom was out of town, and she said, "Don't be so formal. My husband is out of town too. Wink."
She didn't say wink, but yeah, it's weird.
That's the vibe I got from the way she said it. It's weird. What the heck, man?
We as adults who have passed the 30-year mark, achievement unlocked, but it's just, it feels like she's kind of saying like, so your husband's alone is what you're saying. You know, it's just like, he's unguarded. Maybe he could use a little smooch.
Oh.
And then God goes, no. I do not approve of this.
Yeah, so Blue, when they brought him to God and we're like, he knows now, do we have to kill him? Do we have to mind erase him? What do we do? Blue's like, well, I guess he can be on the team. as long as you guys aren't making out. You're not making out, right? And they're like, that would be disgusting. We're siblings.
Yeah, and you know what's great about this? So we've had other seasons where there's been a guy who clearly likes the girl, and the girl is usually is oblivious. I can't think of an example when they weren't oblivious. And so what I expected was going to happen was Blue being like, are you two dating? Megumi to be clueless and just be like, he's like my little brother. And then for Seiji to like hesitate and be like, yeah, I guess we're just friends. I don't like her or anything. But he actually seemed to mostly just be like, yeah, we've known each other forever and it doesn't have to be romantic. And Hime is absolutely positive that there's chemistry there. She's like, you two really don't like each other. So
I got the impression that she was jealous. Like she was trying to be like, you really don't like each other? I'm really a closer friend to you, Megumi.
Oh.
There's not this boy gonna take your attention away from me.
That's an interesting read. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that at all. We'll have to see if the relationship between the three of them develops later on.
She just had such an expression on her face when Megumi was like, this is another friend.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Hime is still getting over her, like, doesn't know how to talk to people era, but it seemed like she did okay with Seiji, so, like, hopefully she'll continue to come out of her shell.
Best of luck, Hime.
Yes. One more quick punch. Didn't even do that on purpose because we're doing Soaring Sky or whatever, but anyways, it turns out, so the monster of the week that the generals summon are Terabads, and then they have these like Sentai-style goons who show up who also are basically ineffectual, and they're kinda bads. I don't know what their Japanese phrase is, but they have like a lesser version of it, and I just love that. We're kinda bad. We're not terribly bad, but we're not
kinda
good.
bad. Also, my heart for an army of millions of tiny minions that make bizarre sounds. Like, that's my favorite thing about Sentai is just the faceless goons for them to beat up, and I'm so glad that Happiness Charge has them. Heartcatch had them too, and I loved it.
Yes. Do you think that they're recruited? Like, these are regular people who put on masks, or do you think that they have, like, a machine, and every time they pull the lever, it mints a new copy?
I think do you remember in Heartcatch where they discovered that the minions were just sacks of sand?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's like that. Like, okay. I don't think they're people, and that's why it's okay to be violent with them.
Yeah, it's like an animated army of, something, grains of rice or something like that. Where do you think Blues like PreCure aren't allowed to be in relationship? Like, do we think that's rooted in something? Do we think that that's what caused the box to be open or whatever?
I think he was probably, I have thoughts about the box that I kept forgetting to mention, so okay. we'll talk about that in a minute. I think he was probably in a relationship with the Queen Bee chick, and then she was like, stop paying attention to the realms and love only me. And he was like, well, no, I have a job. And then she went evil. So now love is just banned because your loved one might be evil if you have to work.
Yeah, I got the idea or the sense that, like, because the version in the subtitles, at least the fan subs, he said something like, breakups are just really annoying to deal with or something like that. And to me, that feels like character who knows something but isn't letting it on, or like will tell them when they're older, quote unquote. And so like there was something in the past where problems happened because of a breakup, and that's why he doesn't allow romance now, because he doesn't want a repeat of the schism or whatever.
Absolutely. Assuming the person in the mirror, Red, as we're calling him, is not him in disguise, him with a little mustache.
I can't be Blue because Blue doesn't have a little mustache.
Exactly. And he's blue, not red. If he's God, do we think Red is the devil?
Gotta be. So I think I mentioned something about Blue possibly being a god last time, like maybe god of the mirrors or something in a kind of Greek pantheon sort of way where you have multiple deities, which however you pronounce it. AU said, no, Blue is the god. And I don't like that. And when you're writing stories, you have to be careful about having a character who is literal god, because like either they're only called that like in title, they don't actually have like infinite amount of power, or they supposedly have an infinite amount of power, but like someone can still open the box and unleash evil and he can't just like put them back in the box, right? It feels like he should be a plot convenience and he's not.
Absolutely. And speaking of the box, Cure Fortune said that everything that the Terabads attacking was Hime's fault, so I imagine she opened the box for some reason.
That's she opened the box because she thought it was there was a birthday present, And then next to it was the evil box exuding like, we'll kill all humans. And she just accidentally opened the wrong one.
Who among us hasn't done that?
Yeah, absolutely.
At least once. You know, my hometown no longer exists. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no story here to be looked into or anything like that.
No, like sometimes there's two boxes and they're identical. And
you open the wrong one.
You open the wrong one, not on purpose.
All right. Do you have anything else that you want to say about Happiness Charge?
I don't think so. I'm looking forward to seeing where this season goes.
All right. It's time to take to the skies. It's Scoring Sky time. Scoring Sky. Soaring Sky.
Soaring.
So I have something that's not... Hirogaru Sky PreCure.
Before I ask my did you like this episode question, I have a complaint. There's a part in the closing where they say Hirugarizumu, which, and I'm butchering that, I'm sorry, but in the past when we've heard that, it's been, whatever rhythm, so I thought it was supposed to be a pun on, like, Soren rhythm or Hero Girl rhythm, but the subtitles translated into English as heroism or herogurism. Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense in the subtitles, so if any of you out there listening and you know what they're trying to do with that word, tell me, because I really don't like the way that it's been translated.
Absolutely. And as we pointed out last season, AU and other people who are fluent in both languages wonder how well the translators speak both languages and that sort of thing.
Well, and I imagine they're not particularly well compensated since translation still isn't kind of given the respect it deserves as a position.
Absolutely.
So you're not going to get, like, the world's best translators on PreCure.
Of course, right. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. I have something that's not at all related to the episode as well that I want to bring up. This is kind of like, I guess it is meta knowledge, but it turns out that there's the orange bird. Did we mention the bird last episode? There is an orange bird.
Birdwatch, where's the bird?
Birdwatch, where is the bird? There's an orange bird that lives outside of Yo-Yo's house, and I don't know if it's like Yo-Yo's pet officially, like if it lives on the property, or if it's a wild animal that just happens to like being near Yo-Yo.
It's got a little tie.
It's got a little tie. The camera zooms in on it at like weird times that don't seem to at all be related to like, hey, look at that bird. Camera zooms on the bird. It's like, hey, I'm from Sky Island. And the camera kind of like zooms over. You're like, what are you doing over there, camera? What's going on with that bird? That bird is important enough to be in the opening and to have its own merch item that has been announced or like previewed or whatever. And maybe you can already buy it. I'm not clear on if it's been released or not, but the picture of this image that you can buy is out there. And we recently found out that the bird has a name, and that bird name is Tsubasa. And I saw someone saying, like, really? The bird is named Tsubasa? And I went, okay, what does Tsubasa mean, right? Sometimes names have meaning. Tsubasa literally just means wing. And we have a Cure Wing coming up, who is also orange in theme and color. I believe if you pay attention to some of the scenes that have Wing in the opening and closing, it seems like he's in kind of like a room with like a lot of birdhouses or bird cages. So yeah, it seems very likely that there's a connection between this bird and Cure Wing.
So before the season even started, I saw people talking about like, the bird is Cure Wing. And I was like, do they mean the bird that Sora rides into?
Yeah, the blue talking bird from episode 1.
Skyland on? That doesn't make any sense, because I didn't see this bird in the opening. And then we saw it a couple times, and I went, oh.
Yes.
And I mean, like, I don't even count this as a spoiler. It's heckin' tie matches Cure Wing's garter.
Yes. Yes.
Which is a weird clothing item to talk about on a boy. I'm not used to that. That's usually only on ladies, but that's what you'd call it, right? The little band around the thigh as a garter.
Has Ivankov not taught you anything? Anyone can wear whatever they want, so long as they're comfortable with it.
Absolutely. I got Ivankov from One Piece mixed up with the Ivanhoe on Twitter, and I went, what? But no.
Ivanhoe is always talking about his stylish garters that he's wearing. I don't know how you missed that 1008 long tweet thread.
I'm gonna have to at him and be like, hey, is this true? I really liked this episode. I thought it was cute. This might be a better thought for calls to adventure, but that one welder guy James pointed out watching episode 2 that he feels like Mashiro seems very lonely. Like she just totally embraces this random Sky friend for no reason. And then in this episode, we find out that her parents are away on work. And she only gets to do video calls with them. And then she's kind of empathizing with Elle, and she goes, "Oh, Elle, aren't you lonely?" And so, like, good looking out there. That one, Wilder Guy James.
Good observation. I mean, most pre-cures who aren't the lead cure can learn something from the lead cure, right? And so maybe Mashiro's thing is like, she seems very timid and very like, let's not make a fuss. So maybe, and we'll talk about this in looking ahead, but maybe someday soon she'll learn that she has to like stand up for herself, or sometimes you have to take action even if it might be rude in some contexts. You know, so. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm really excited to see where she goes. She's Skylandian.
Oh, yeah, we totally forgot to mention that. I guess she would be a quarter Skylandian, assuming that everyone else in her family is from the human world. Yoyo is just from Skylandia. She seems to have married a human partner, and then they seem to have had... it doesn't really matter, but they either had Mashiro's mom or Mashiro's dad, and then they had... Mashiro.
Yep. So that's interesting. She just tells us, how did she get here? And does she have a secret path home?
Yes.
And why isn't she sharing it?
Okay, so she does not have a path home is my guess, because I think that returning the princess to the kingdom is like super important unless there's some prophecy and she wants them to fulfill it. So maybe she's keeping them in there on purpose. But it seems like she legitimately wants to help Elle and cannot. But also, how did she get here? Was she fighting someone like Kabaton? Because like, how did Kabaton get here? Oh, he has some like weird teleporting jewel of unknown origin. Yoyo doesn't seem to have an unknown gem of teleportation origin.
She does have an unknown gem. It's around her neck, but it looks like it's just one of the Skylandian stones.
Yeah, the sky crystals. But what I'm saying is how she got here is an interesting question. Why she's still here is probably because the door's shut and she can't get back, you know?
Could be, absolutely. The other thing I want to call out with Yoyo is, are there time travel shenanigans afoot? Because the girls, and I didn't realize this until this episode because I'm not observant, I guess, but the girls didn't know Elle was a princess. They thought she was just a random baby. And so when Grandma Yoyo picks her up, she goes, "Oh, Princess Elle." And then she goes, "Haha, it's Elle Chan now, isn't it?" Because the girls aren't calling her princess. How long has she been gone? How did she know this princess? The king and queen know her, but like, as a legend?
They seem to know her by reputation. You're the legendary historian or whatever. So, I mean...
Has she been watching Skyland through her little mirror?
But it seems like you can't watch Skyland without having more of the crystals. So, yeah, there's some weird questions going on. Here's something that I don't think is actually related, but it's a nice little segue, even if it isn't. So I noticed something about Elle's eyes in episode, maybe, I think it was 2 when I was taking screenshots, but it might have been episode 3. And that is that she's kind of got the normal eye, but then there's also this...
It's like a star.
It's a star. It's a 4-pointed star that is directly below her pupil. And I noticed something else interesting. I noticed that Sora has normalized the way you would draw any like human or Skylandian, I guess. But when she becomes Cure Sky, she has the 4-pointed star. It's not the same color as Elle's, but... kind of makes me wonder if maybe all PreCure have that 4-pointed star, and I wonder if that means something about Elle, maybe.
I mean, the PreCure do transform using an item that Elle, like, sneezes out.
That she creates or whatever. So, if I had to guess, I think that it is possible for Yoyo to have guessed that this baby is the princess based off of her eye, and I think that she's basically bestowing, like, royal magic upon the people who turn into PreCure. But... I don't know how the king and queen, unnamed king and queen, know her by reputation. Like, is it specifically the gem she wears on her collar? Is it like, do they know what she looks like? I don't know.
Man, a world in which magic is only wielded by the royalty, that could create for some interesting world building, possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Here's another thought that I have about Yoyo that came up when I was rewatching episode 2 getting the screenshots. Could Grandma Yoyo be from the Forbidden Forest? We know that where we suspect she has witch-like powers. witches are usually separate from civilization. They live in swamps or forests or other places where civilization doesn't typically go. And if you notice, she actually has a ponytail in a lot of the shots that show her face or whatever. And we know that, well, the hero who showed up in the forest had a ponytail. So, like, she's all three, right? She's the hero, she's the witch, and she's also the historian. And I don't know why...
The Holy Trinity.
Yes, absolutely! But my guess is that maybe she's in a self-inflicted isolation or exile. Maybe that's why she's in the human world and she's made no effort to go back.
Because she lost her human world PreCure partner?
Maybe? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either, but that's an interesting thing to explore. Well, if she were the hero, this would have to be time travel shenanigans because the hero saved Sora, but
like
Sora was
10
a
years
kid
ago,
when
yeah.
Mashiro was a kid, so Grandma Yoyo would have already been in the human world.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, the cool thing is it's PreCure. They don't have to make any of this line up at all. They can just do whatever they want.
I think they should try a little bit to make sure that the story is, like, at least kind of sensical.
Well, I think they should try. I'm just saying they don't have to.
Okay.
You know what I saw on our scratch pad, our notes just now?
What's that?
I saw a pun so horrendous, it could have only come from an evil father figure type.
Like Mephisto?
Like
Mephisto when he was evil? Do you mean, or?
Could be.
Okay,
yeah.
So what's this pun?
Well, it's a dad joke. Did you make it? I feel like it's your...
Yes, so I'm also looking at the scratch pad, and can confirm it's a very dad pun. So we know that heroes have swords, and we know that the hero who saved Sora when she was a baby, or I guess not a baby, but when she was younger, had a sword. So do we think that the Sky PreCure, the Hirogara girls, are going to get any form of a sword, or maybe just Sora specifically? And if she got a sword, would it be a sword?
Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Dad Joel.
You're welcome, absolutely. Here's $5 and be sure not to get into any fights.
Oh, thanks. And please enjoy building me a deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else do dads do? Would you like to toss a football?
I have some grilled meats here, and we can talk about different sports and which teams have been winning lately. And isn't it a shame that the teams that I want to win aren't winning as much as they could be winning?
But the teams I want to win are doing really well.
Oh, get out of my house. You're not welcome here anymore.
My teams are better than yours, Dad.
Look at the sign. Only my team fans can park here. You're not allowed to park here if you're not going to vote for my teams in the Super Bowl beauty pageant.
Super Bowl
That's what the Super Bowl is, right?
Democracy. Nobody votes. I think I'm ready to move on to Calls to Adventure.
You don't have any thoughts about whether or not Sora will get her own sword?
Oh, she might.
Okay. I really when I thought of Kabuton having an older brother, I want that to be canon. When I thought of a masked wrestler, evil villain general, I was like, that should be canon. I really want it to be. And I really want Sora's mid-season power-up to be she gets her own.
I cannot imagine Mashiro getting a sword, so it would have to be a just Sora thing, not a team power-up.
She gets like a you know what Mashiro gets? She gets a big hammer that bonks people and sends them to the horny jail. If they say anything that she doesn't approve of, she's just like, that's rude, and she just bonks them and then they go away.
I want that power.
That would be a really good power, right?
That's rude.
Give Mashiro the ban hammer, like the literal ban hammer. But it looks like Amy Rose's hammer, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Amy Rose was the original mod who would wield the ban hammer.
Oh, yes, mod like moderator. Sorry, I thought mod like Mod Pie from My Little Pony, and I was like, please make this make sense, please. What connection did your brain just make right there? I need to see through your eyes.
The goblins in your head are like frantically running through the office. There's papers everywhere. A trash can is on fire.
One of them is currently on fire, and the other one may have set the fire, but is not willing to cooperate with authorities or answer your question.
He's also sobbing, just violently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ripping out his tiny goblin hairs. AU had a thought about how Mashiro's story is very similar to Cure White's story, but the technology is so different that it's almost like not the same at all.
Yeah, she can, Mashiro can see her parents whenever she wants, whereas Cure White was only able to see them once a year when the moon aligned and they were able to escape their prison from the alternate dimension, from the 9th dimension, as we recently found out is a real thing in Marvel Comics.
And AU is on board with Bird Watch 2023. Where's the bird? We're going to be doing that, by the way. I did that every time it showed the front of the house because at the beginning of the episode, the bird was there. End of the episode, he was gone. Bird Watch, where's the bird?
Yes. Now we will get more backstory when we get to the episode where the bird becomes Cure Wing or the bird dies tragically and then a human boy takes on the mantle of Cure Wing to represent the fallen mentor. But, like, how does a bird become a PreCure? Like, the only other non-human, like, cures that we've seen have been humanoid in nature. So maybe the bird can already transform into human form, but, like, I guess they just gave Laura wings because she wanted it bad enough. So maybe Tsubasa will just want wings or want human legs enough to transform into a boy.
Absolutely.
A 12-year-old boy.
I want to be a real boy. You can be a PreCure. Close enough.
Absolutely. AU did point out that we got Chekhov's mushroom, and, like, I just love any version of the Chekhov's gun a joke. There's a great one from, I think, College Humor, where they're at an auction and someone is selling Chekhov's gun, and you should watch that. It's a really good, like, 5-minute skit.
It's pretty funny.
Yes. Apparently there's someone named Aoyama. I did not have time to look him up, but I guess every season he does a couple of episodes, and from, like, some of the information I saw on Reddit, like, apparently he isn't usually very good at staying on character model, but he did an okay job this time. So I don't know why they keep giving this guy a job. If he's known as, like, oh, he's the guy who messes it up every time.
Maybe he has a very distinct style, so
okay, maybe.
They tolerate the going off model because they like the way he animates.
Of course. More quick punches from AU. The generals in Happiness Charge all have names that are based off of their... We didn't talk about the fact that we got a new general in Happiness Charge. She's a lady. She's cute. She's a princess.
She's a fairy-type Pokemon gym leader.
She's a fairy-type Pokemon gym leader, absolutely, who might also be a fairy-type Pokemon herself, disguised as a human. But anyways, I guess Namakelders' name is basically like, I don't wanna, basically, or something like that. The girl is something formal, like, I'm so pretty formal.
I'm pretty sure it's like, it's all for me.
Okay. And then the third one we've seen, but hasn't, like, shown up and actually fought the girls yet, who kind of looks like more like a general, like, army
He looks
person.
like a Nazi. We can say it. He does.
He's in a uniform more so than the other two, in my opinion. And his apparently means, like, I love myself. And of course, the pompous military leader who probably has never seen a day of battle himself would be named, like, I love myself.
Who can stand with their hands on their hips?
Officers, I think is how that joke ends.
Yeah.
Okay. The other really quick punch from AU is that, so there's a scene where Sora punches the boulder. I already referenced it a couple of times, but apparently the directors have said that they were directly referencing some Bruce Lee stuff, some Saint Seiya stuff, and Space Sheriff Gavin? I've never heard of that. I believe it exists. I'm just saying, like, I know who Bruce Lee is. I've heard of Saint Seiya. I even watched it when I was younger, but I don't know what Space Sheriff Gavin is.
I guess we have something to look up.
Absolutely. But it's cool that they threw in some references to other properties that people might recognize. I do appreciate that. Now, do you want to go through all of the many thoughts from James?
There are so many thoughts.
Hey, we appreciate it. I don't want it to sound like we're like, oh, James, he sent so much.
We've already shared a lot. One that I would like to call out is he called Kabaton a sloppy bear, which is apparently a term from Bob's Burger. I don't like it.
Sloppy bear probably just means, like, eats a lot of food and gets the food, like, places, like messy eater.
I'm uncomfortable with the word sloppy next to a word that's usually used in sexual contexts.
Bear?
Yeah.
We're playing Psychonauts, and there's a bear in that game. Did you get sexualized by that?
Stop. Listen. When you call a person a bear, that's sexual.
So, Urban Dictionary, the nexus of all knowledge. The first one is a gay man who has a muffin top and is very hairy. And it is a Bob's Burger reference, that according to what James said. And that's not really sexual. You can make the argument, but there is also something else that I will not repeat, and it is less innocent, but it's not directly, right? It's not the slobby bear. It's something else. It's
Something
a different term. It's a related term.
All right. Well, thank you for not repeating it on this wholesome PreCure podcast.
Where we mentioned Nazis like 10 minutes ago.
Yes. Oh, no.
Did you lose the...
Yeah, my phone goes into sleep mode after 9, and so it's grayscale, and I can't really read stuff. So
hoisted by your own petard.
Makes it really easy to go to bed. Are there any other James thoughts that you would like to call out?
Oh man, there's a bunch in here. I liked for Splash Star. It's early. It's an early season, but they're always like, "Why is this happening? Horror beyond my comprehension." You better believe it, Buster. So just like existential horror happening when these movies are going on. And I do appreciate that we had a couple of seasons where the PreCure had to be like, oh my gosh, what is this PreCure? But nowadays we just have like, yeah, I'm a magical girl. I get it. My left punch is probably stronger than my right punch.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to effing go.
When do I get my power-up juice that allows me to punch God? You know, that sort of a thing.
Oh my god, do you think they're going to punch Blue?
No, probably. Do you think he's secretly the bad guy? Do you think they're going to find out?
Punching God is such a time-honored tradition.
Yeah, absolutely. I expect Sora to punch God more than the happiness charge, because punching God is a very JRPG thing, and Sora is the most like a JRPG hero of all the characters we've met.
Fair enough. I could also see Cure Butterfly doing it just because she gives me off my mean girl vibes.
Yeah, the step on me kind of sort of energy.
Speaking of punching God being a time-honored trope, you put out a call for responses, and you got quite a few.
Yes, absolutely. So I am in another Discord related to my adventures with the Piecemeal podcast. There's a lot of great folks over in that Discord. And I did the someone not in the fandom tell me what's happening in this image. And I will probably post this image in the actual thumbnail, but it is episode 2 when Sora is trying to tell everyone it's okay, I'm the hero, and she's holding L, and in the background Mashiro is making this like, no, please don't kind of face. I got a couple of responses. Mashiro is about to surprise her girlfriend who's going on a trip with their pumpkin child. And I just love the fact that Elle looks like a pumpkin. Something about her...
She does. Like, the way her back is drawn, it looks like a pumpkin wearing a wig.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just like that. About to surprise her girlfriend. Okay, that's not a bad guess. Sora is about to do something stupid, and Mashiro is trying in vain to stop her. That person gets a prize for getting closest to what was actually happening in the image. Good guess, right? My favorite for humor is the lady in the back is trying to engage in the age-old TV tradition of baby stealing. I love the idea of Mashiro stealing, like she's the criminal you would never expect, like her and Sango best friends, because like they seem so timid and like, oh no, please, sir, I'm sorry, but actually they're just up to heinous crimes.
Me? Pay my taxes? Of course I did.
Of course I did. I just need to go into the other room, and she just books it. She runs as fast as she can. The girl in the back is attempting to cast a spell on the baby while Blue Hair stares off all unassuming like. I like Sora as the head empty one because, I mean, that fits her character
And
pretty
Mashiro
well.
Is the granddaughter of a witch.
Oh my
so
gosh.
if anybody was going to be casting spells.
Okay, so they got the second closest to actually guessing what's happening. And then the last one, Mashiro can't resist the urge to tickle Sora, and it's going to end tragically for their wigged pumpkin baby.
No, it doesn't say baby. It says wigged pumpkin.
Absolutely.
There's nothing babyish about what Sora is holding to this person.
Sora went to the vegetable market. She picked up a gourd. She put a wig on, and she's like, "This is my baby." And everyone's like, "That's just a pumpkin."
I got a little bit overexcited. I didn't realize we had calls to adventure from folks we haven't heard from before.
Absolutely.
Long-time listener, first-time writing.
Possibly. They didn't specify, but I'd like to believe that we've had some long-time listeners. We've gotten a small little bump in our viewership lately, and I really appreciate that. Welcome, new listeners. So these are from YouTube, and there is someone whose screen name is Snooker, I believe is how you pronounce that. They really like Happiness Charge. It's definitely not perfect, but you have to treat it like a comedy and not take it too seriously. It's one of the most fun seasons. People really like it, but there's some people in the fandom who've kind of like collectively decided that we have to dislike a season, so we might as well dislike this season.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't know. Maybe something happens. Maybe we get to episode 18 and they do another, like, people don't like Doki Doki because they feel like they were lied to about Regina, which is a strange take. I think that if you have that take, watch the season again and watch the whole season. Don't stop when Kirei shows up. Keep watching and see if maybe the story continues and they develop both characters.
Doki Doki wasn't perfect, but it was close. It was a really good season.
Right. So those are our fighting words. I will fight anyone who thinks that Healin' Good or Futariwa were worth watching, and I'll fight anyone who dislikes Doki Doki, and so far, anyone who dislikes Happiness Charge. But again, if in episode 21 something terribly wrong, or something goes terribly wrong, or the story just flies off the railing, it might be a bad season overall.
Absolutely. And I will say, if you like Futariwa, I could see why you might hate Happiness Charge, because they really have nothing in common except the word PreCure.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Snooker also really encouraged us to keep watching Splash Star, and yep, that's the plan. We're going to finish every season that we start, I think, unless catastrophic failure in the podcast just goes offline for some reason. But Snooker thought that it did many things better than Futariwa, especially the villains, which so far, I have more character from Karahan than everything from Futariwa and Max Heart smushed together. So.
I can't even remember the individual villains' names.
Kiria is the boy who fell in love with Honoka, but that's the only one I remember and the only one who had an arc. So, we also got one from, and I really hope that I'm pronouncing this right, but Emmanuel Ni Kwae? But Splash Star gets supremely good by episode 11 and onwards, so if you want good plot and fight, get to episode 11. And then we have to watch Splash Star. These are from two separate videos, I think. I think one was like the last episode of season 2, and then the next one was from the first episode of season 3, perhaps. But we have to do Splash Star if Princess is one of our favorites. And like, absolutely. Thank you, listeners, for encouraging us to continue watching these series, but I really don't think, like, even the series that I dislike the most, I'm not going to DNF while we're doing a podcast about it.
I promise we will finish Splash Star. I'm already enjoying it, so I can't imagine, like, it not continuing to be good for us.
Absolutely.
But if we get to the point where we're like, oh, we just want to watch more Happiness Charge, we'll just watch like 20 episodes of Splash Star in a day. Like, well, we're still going to watch it all.
We will watch it because it's not fair to say this season is bad if you haven't seen it all. Maybe the ending saves something. Maybe it was all good up until the very last episode, and then they just randomly are like, surprise, we're going to preach to you about Jesus or something in like the very last episode, and you're like, that's not what I'm watching PreCure for. So in order to have a complete opinion, I feel like we have to complete the series. But yeah, I'm enjoying all 3 of these seasons so far. If one of the shows we're covering outshines the other 2, it just means it gets more airtime. But we're not going to ignore the seasons that don't shine as bright. So.
Absolutely. Really quick, you wanted to shout out the PreCure Awards.
Yes. So we're going to do many PreCure Awards at the end of this PreCure podcast season. But the 3 big ones that I think we should try to keep in mind every episode is biggest heartbreak, biggest like heartwarming moment, and funniest moment. Do you think from any of these seasons that we watched that there was any kind of moment like that? Any of those 3?
I don't think so.
There was something, and I can't remember what Yoyo said, but Grandma Yoyo said something. I think it was, oh, we have sky crystals in the back, and all 3 of the girls, including Elle, made the like, oh, face. And so like, I really appreciated that even the baby had a dumb expression. Like this 1-year-old baby who doesn't know the difference between chewing on her fist and, you know, chewing on a Tinkalog or whatever that Tinker Tot log?
Tinker Toys?
Tinker Toys. Is aware enough to know that what Yoyo said is a little strange. I will say, I didn't bring this up during the actual episode, but I hope that the quest for sky crystals becomes a little bit more like traditional questy. Like, I hope that they have to go and fight like a dragon or something, or have to like search their inner feelings, because just like having a picnic next to the river with your girlfriend, not really what I would consider a major challenge to overcome.
It's not heroism, and there's so much for Sora to do in this world. She could fight brutality. She could stand up for the little guy. She could fight for nationalized healthcare.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's what heroes do.
She could could you imagine she goes to the hospital and Mashiro's like, okay, so you have an HSA and an FSA and you have a long-term engagement and then you also have a short-term big deductible, and Sora's just like, this is complicated. I'm just going to punch some hospital people until I get the care I need.
Oh, geez. Oh, no. We were talking throughout this episode about when is the next cure going to show up, because 3 episodes, no second cure seems like a lot.
I'm here for it, by the way. I think every season should go 3 episodes before you get a second cure if they don't get their PreCure powers at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, I'm ready to see her. Where is she? And it turns out, in the grand tradition of Toei spoiling things in their episode titles, the next episode is titled,
I'm a hero girl too! Cure Prism's arrival. So,
she's a hero fox.
I am very curious what is going to be the difference between Sora's Call to Adventure and Mashiro's Call to Adventure. I guess we kind of already talked about this, but I think Mashiro is going to have to learn that she sometimes has to punch people. So far her duty has been taking the baby away and letting Sora/Sky handle everything. So I think next episode, maybe Kabaton will get a power boost or something, and Sora will be in a pinch, a big pinchy, as the Japanese word is, but Mashiro will have to be like, I have to protect her, and then that's how she's going to become a hero as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably about what's going to happen. Oh, something I meant to shout out and forgot. So they run into Kabaton and he's stacking rocks by the river. And it's actually very clever of the Toei writers to include that because only villains do that. Rock stacking is super popular right now. I see it all the time on like the local nature trails, but it is killing small animals and it disturbs kind of the natural environment. It removes places for them to hide. So remember to leave no trace when you're out in the woods. Don't stack rocks.
Try to act as if you are in spectator mode in Minecraft, not survival mode.
Absolutely.
You know? And that has been your doot final thought. Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone, and don't forget, you can be a hero too. Just go and cure cancer. With your magical sky powers.
That sounds hard. Could I just
heroes
stand
sometimes
up
have to put in the hard work.
for the little guy?
You could be a hero in smaller ways.
I could
if you
punch a
wanted
bus.
To. Sure, yeah, absolutely.
The bus is speeding toward a kitten.
Bye, everyone.
Kitten can't get out of the way in time.
Oh no, what is this dark turn that this podcast has suddenly taken?
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Podcast Time here at Cure of the What Now. Please remember to take a moment to rate and review us wherever you get your podcast from. If you want to chat more, you can find me at Pirate Ghost Host on Twitter.
And you can find me at KOTWN_pod. The link to our Discord is in my bio. You can join us for streams, games, and weekly discussions. Bye!
Stay heroic!